Hello and welcome back to Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment. I know it has been a while, but we are now back to complete this. So I can't really give you much of an update on what happened last because it's been so long since we had it, but all I know is that we do need to talk to these guys here before. Oh, hang on. I don't know, it just didn't let me talk.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Right, okay. Tell that I haven't done this well because I haven't got full control of.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Alright, okay, so now we've done that. I kind of wish, oh, there we go. I can't remember how to get him to run. Right, okay, so what were you doing on the day of the death?
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
Hmm.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
So there's a bit of
You say
inconsistency
you were
there.
recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Right, so we're
Thank you,
going
miss.
back to the laboratory then.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
So what we're doing... Right, okay, how do we... Oh, it's L1. Right, okay, so I think we've actually already put these in place, but right, so
No, it wasn't like that.
right,
No, it wasn't like that.
so this, I must have missed something. What did I miss?
No, it wasn't like that. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Right. I think there's only two things here to determine, but he keeps saying that they're in the wrong sequence, so if I... Right, let's just reset it, so... Activate...
When
All right.
Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, The caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Right, so,
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
right, so... Sorry, just bear with me, I have completely gone the wrong way.
Water lily greenhouse.
Oh, I thought we
According
did
to
that.
this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
I thought we'd actually looked at all those before. Right. I don't know if this is the right door.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Right, I think that's where we need to be.
Colonial collection. Water lily greenhouse. Dry tropics.
Right, I think this is...
Ventilation system.
Right, so this is where we definitely need to be. Why has he come and followed me? Right, okay, right, okay, so...
Before starting the engine, I need to enable the power supply. The power is on. The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active. The engine has started.
Oh! No.
The ventilation system is working. Seed house. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one.
Right, so what I'm doing is following the ventilation shaft, which goes in there. So, hold on a minute, I need to be right. So the nursery, okay. Right, so let's go back through. Supposed to be another activation point in here. Right, let me just come off of that for a minute. Maybe. Outside, doesn't it? Is this the nursery as well? Ah, I think that's what I'm looking for there.
Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Yeah, right, okay, so So this next stage is where we have to trigger off another next part to this. So needs Albert's lack of experience. Then we need White's lack of experience. Right, okay, something... Oh, I incorrectly... I already had these on. Right, okay, so... change this. Now that should... okay. Right. Right, so this is what it should look like. Right, okay, so Albert's motive, theft and murder, partial theft, White's situation, disagreement, White's lack of experience. Right, so this is what it should look like. Affects the arrest of Martin Hamish.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Okay, so we need to go and speak to the inspector. So to do that we'll need to go to the map. Right, how do we do that again? I've forgotten how we get the map up. Oh! Okay, so it's square on the... So, right, this always seems to take a long time for me. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is this time we're not actually going to go, what's it, we're going to go to a new room which is the actual inspector's office.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Right, now
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
okay. Well,
Holmes, Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
So,
The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
Okay, so hopefully that's giving you enough time to just read that. Right, find out who killed Montague Dunn. Examine Martin Hamish's body at reserve. Okay, so that's going to give us a new deduction now. Right, okay, so because of the club foot, he wasn't able to run. So does that mean he had an accomplice? So I would say that that would be the case, that he must have had an accomplice.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Right,
Let us
apparently
analyze the facts and statements, so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
right, I will come back to that, but apparently there's something in here that I need to do. It may be something that I've actually done already. I think this is something I've done already.
Here it is.
Oh, of course. Is it here we need to play it?
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
Right, see the thing is for me with that is... Was she? Because... Right, so it's important that I did that. So let's just go back to the board.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
So essentially what you need to do is just move these into the timelines up here. Obviously they tell you exactly what was said, what was done, and everything like that. So I'm just going to, so obviously if you look, there's a colour that matches each one. So we start here. Okay, so right, okay, so she claims that that's it, so right, obviously you can skip this if you want to. Right, so I think that is correct. So let's just play events.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
Right, sorry about that. So we've got some new deductions now. Okay. Right, so basically there are two more conclusions now, because we now know that Martin Hamish is dead, and it's likely he had an accomplice. So there's just two conclusions left. Okay, so this will be the first of the one. Okay, so that's first number one. Right, hang on a minute. So Hamish is... oh, that's what I need to do. Hamish opportunity. Hamish's motive. Sex not involved. Doom was poisons. Albert's study. Oh, oh, there we go, that's what I was trying to... so... is there anything else I need to change here? So Albert's motive, theft and murder, Albert's lack of experience, so apparently I've... okay, so this is... right, so we condemn Albert because that's what I've done.
What happened, Inspector?
It's all over now, lad. There is no use denying it. We know that you murdered your father. Patricide by plant poisoning. Very alliterative.
What? You're mad. I didn't do it. I don't know anything about botany. No!
Right, okay, so obviously we're not going to choose this one, it's a different ending. Okay, so we go back into deductions now, and this means now that there's this is the last actual incorrect conclusion. So but it's just two we need to change. So Please just change that Albert is not involved. And that's so Hamish did it alone. So what I don't get is, said earlier on that he had a club foot and he couldn't have done it. So why are we doing this as the conclusion?
Can be closed. Martin Hamish operated alone. He was meticulous in his planning, down to the smallest detail, and yet we arrived at the truth.
Well, I must thank you once again, Mr. Holmes. Without you, it would not have been possible.
If pushing a man to his suicide seems fair to you, Lestrade, then we are even.
Mr. Holmes, you did what was needed
to not appear in this inquiry. I thank you for your discretion, Lestrade.
Right, okay, so obviously, as I said, that's the last incorrect conclusion. So obviously you will now be able to guess that the next one is the correct conclusion. Oh. Right, okay, so I believe that all we need to do change this to okay, so that is essentially all we need to do. White is an accomplice, so
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining: the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
Right, okay, what have I got to do?
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Oh,
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
right, okay. So this means that this is the correct one, so we just accept the decision. Personality ranking, severe judge. Right, so deadly flower. Right, so this is going to take us into the next one, the Half Moon Walk. So I'm going to end it here. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next episode of Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment and the Half Moon Walk.